going to rock. It's going to be an amazing week of League of Legends action. We've already had some phenomenal plays throughout the season. We've been through 5 different countries with 4 different winners across 3 different continents. It's been an absolutely explosive season of League of Legends action. And you know what? Let's just take a quick look at some of the highlights from Katowice earlier on in Season 7. Right now, thank you for tuning in live to Poland. This is the Intel Extreme Masters Season 7 Katowice!
All this middle outer turret, what can Meteor Makers do against it? Mission going low, there's the unstoppable bomb, here comes the Countess ultimate, that's 1 kill. Two inhibitors down, and they're just going to pile straight up towards those super minions in the base. You can see there's coming in there. Peke is desperately up towards the Nexus. Kevin is going to be able to get him towards him. He's trying to do it, but meanwhile they're in the base. Yellow Star's trying to defend them in the base. Peke is trying to take the Nexus down. Is anyone going to be able to deal with this one? Catches him with another axe. He's very low on health right now. They're pushing on the Nexus to his
Please welcome to the stage, Azubu Blaze! Gabi
There is a crescendo coming out of Edward. He's already fairly low. And look at Rapid Star falling so quickly. Cloud Templar now the focus on that one. We are going to see Alex Inch come in. He's got the reset. He's going to jump over, gets the slow across all 3. Alex goes low. He was exhausted and then not even finished off by that one. Graves goes down.
They've got the Siege Minion as well, and he's going to take a lot of hits. It's going to be the first Nexus turret of the game. The Intel Extreme Masters Eye in Katowice could well be picked up by Gambit Gaming. Every Intel Extreme Masters they come to, they win, and it is going to be the run of
Some fantastic memories there from Katowice, and we're going to create some more memorable moments right here at Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. As I said before, it has been a very long season, and many men and women have put their heart and souls into this tournament throughout the year. 2 men in particular have worked solidly to bring you a fantastic series of events and a glorious World Championship. Please welcome to the stage the Director of Pro Gaming for Intel Extreme Masters, Mr. Michal Blickards, and also the Product Manager for Intel, Mr. George Wu. Morning, gents. How are we doing? How are you doing, George?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, so World Championship, we're here after a long year.
I know, it's really exciting. I think that people here and around the world are in for a big treat.
Yeah, absolutely. Michal, it's been an incredible season. You've been back to your home country for the first time with a major event, pulled off a spectacular event, but the World Championship is where it's at, right?
Certainly so. It's $150,000 prize money. It's the biggest prize purse I think we've ever had for a single event. We've got amazing teams here. We've got fantastic competition, and just a special shout out to the League of Legends community. We will see whose team will be here tomorrow big.
Tomorrow big?
We'll have tomorrow big. Sorry, I misquoted myself.
I've never heard him misquote himself before. Just talk to me about the work that goes into this, the hundreds of people involved and the people behind the scenes that no one really sees very much, to culminate in the World Championship and come to such an amazing venue.
Well, I'm very lucky to just take the credit for all of that, but I actually do the least amount of work. It's, as you said, 100 people, more than 100 people working on it, behind the scenes building this, managing the tournaments. designing the graphics, making things happen, connecting cables.
And getting money out of this guy, right?
Getting money out of this guy is my job, and it's really, really tough.
What do you say to that, George?
It's worth every penny, so that's all I'd say.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michal Plichard and Mr. George Wu. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see both of those guys again towards the end of this particular World Championship in the closing ceremony. We also have a number of other people to introduce you to, so without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to the lady who is going to host this stage for you all week long. She's become a very popular figure very quickly in League of Legends. Please make some noise for Shox!
Hi, Paul.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm a little tired, but very excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So a few weeks of the LCS, and now it's World Championship time for the Intel Extreme Masters.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to?
Mostly the fact that we're going to see the Korean teams battle out with the European teams and see what everyone is worth, and also the Brazilian team paying game.
Go Brazil.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a secret Brazil fan. I'm glad they're here, and we'll see how they get on.
Me too.
Okay, so as we said before, plenty of teams have qualified through the series of the events that we've had around the world. There are 12 teams here in the grand final. Let's take a look at the Group A first of all.
Think it's coming?
It's coming. It's coming. Be patient. It's coming. Group A will, of course, be the first game that we'll play on the stage today. We've got Entus Blaze going up against Incredible Miracle.
Yep.
That will be the first game of the day, so we're looking forward to that one.
Absolutely. It's going to be the big one to start things off. We're not starting off slow, we're just going straight in it.
Great to kick things off as well. Fnatic Millennium will come up after that as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, two groups are ridiculously stacked, aren't they?
It's
unbelievable. 12 fantastic teams.
In the first group, we'll only have Gambit, who's number one at LCS right now, and who are the only ones to have won 2 events leading up to the World Championship.
The only team who've won 2 events as well.
Excuse me?
The only team who've won 2.
The only team that have won 2 events, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and obviously MYM as well. There we go. Look, there's Group A.
So we see
as you can see, Gambit at the top of the team, Fnatic, Incredible Miracle, Entus Blaze in there as well. I'm expecting big things, and Millennium, and I guess you would say Pain are definitely the underdogs in Group A.
I think you could say they are the underdogs.
Yeah, but if they win even one game, I think the crowd are going to go crazy. Let's take a look at Group B now. And 6 more stacked teams. There is no group of death. Every group is a group of death.
Absolutely. I see Meet Your Makers. I'm really looking forward what they can bring to the table. I think, they nearly made it in the LCS. They're a very strong Polish lineup, so it's going to be good times. Evil Geniuses, Entus Frost is just so stacked.
I know, it's crazy. It's such a crazy amount of teams in this World Championship. Really looking forward to seeing how it all pans out. So that's Group B. We also have, as we said earlier on, the way that it works is kind of, I'm going to make it sound way too complicated, okay? So bear with me, and we'll answer some questions via social media, which she's going to tell you about in a moment. But basically, the top team from both Group A and Group B will go through to the semi-finals automatically. So it's everything to play for the top place. Second and third will then play off in the playoffs. We're calling it the playoffs, the round of 6. You can call it what you like. It's definitely not a quarter-final, though.
Don't do that.
No, don't do that. They will then play off for a place against the first 2 winners, and then obviously we'll be in semi-finals. The grand final will be best of 5 on Saturday. We're really looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I made that sound way too complicated. It's much simpler, trust me.
Yeah, let's take a look at the schedule for today, shall we? Because that's what it's all about, it's the games.
Yep, let's take you through the schedule. As we said earlier, it's going to be Entus Blaze versus Incredible Miracle, which will be the first game of the day. And we'll follow that up with Fnatic versus Millennium. And then at the end of the day, we'll round out with a big game, IEM versus Gambit Gaming.
I think a lot of people are looking forward to that one.
It's going to be fantastic. So, stick with us all day for the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. It's day 1 of 4 for League of Legends. It's going to be some crazy action.
It's going to be crazy. And of course, you can get in touch with us if you have anything to say, if you want things to follow up. You can go on Facebook, facebook.com/IEM. You can also go on Twitter. You can tweet at IEM and always use the hashtag IEM, of course. And if you want to check out the VODs of the matches of any of the videos, go check out youtube.com/ESLTV.
Yep, absolutely. And don't forget #IEM on Twitter. Whatever you want to tell us. If you want to moan about me, explaining the fact that the rules are complicated when they're not, just use the hashtag and we'll pick it up.
We'll find it.
And we'll find it and we'll make it much simpler. Thank you very much for the social media stuff indeed. You can also join in via social media on facebook.com/IEM for the MVP vote. But don't vote yet. That's going to be Saturday, and I promise you, we're not going to show you right now. It's a bit of a secret. But later on, we'll find a way of showing you these unique MVP monitors provided by BenQ, which are absolutely spectacular and they are one of a kind. So that's up for grabs grabs in the MVPs. You can vote for that on Saturday morning.
Yeah, very excited to see you'll step up to the plate for that prize because it's really nice. We're not going to show it to you just yet. Okay, there's 2 more people we need to introduce to you. It's of course going to be the guys who are going to cast all of the action. It's Joe Miller and Lee D-Man Smith.
Thanks a lot, Shock. So yeah, we're here, Demon. It's been a long couple of weeks for us. I've had 1 day off in between everything, and I had to clean my old flat. It's been brilliant stuff.
You've had a very busy time. Of course, we've just had the Super Week in the League of Legends Championship Series, and then everybody, all the crew, got to give them credit, all straight away moved to Hanover, which is a good 3-hour drive for us guys, and everybody had to pile here. So here we are again. It's going to be another 4 action-packed days.
Yeah, my 8th CeBIT in a row, and I've never looked so much forward to one of these. I mean, the 2 groups we've just seen in there are so ridiculously stacked. Group A in particular for me is just, I can't even begin to predict what's going to happen.
You've got the Season 1 World Champions, you've got the OGN Champions in there, OGN Summer Champions, not the Winter Champions, because there was no Sword, of course. You've got LGIM in there, the Fnatic, of course, like I mentioned already, Gambit, the IEM World Champions. There's so many different champions in there. Group A is so stacked, and then you got Group B tomorrow, which is even more stacked as well. Evil Geniuses, SK Telecom T1 that won Intel Extreme Masters Cologne. There's so many great teams here.
Basically, what we're trying to tell you is, don't be thinking about going to school or work tomorrow. Call in sick, because Intel Extreme Masters is where it's going to be at for the next few days. We're about to get into our first game of the day. Of course, it is going to be none other than CJ Entus Blaze versus LGIM. We're going to go over to our expert desk with the commentators. What am I talking about? With Jarrett Kale.
We're not the experts.
Thank you. Welcome to the League of Legends Analyst Desk. I'm your host, Jarrett Kale, and with me are 2 expert analysts, Panky and Trevor Quickshot Henry.
Nice, thank you. Dramatic introduction.
Sorry, a little over-dramatic. How are you guys feeling about today's games? I'm unbelievably stoked for this whole tournament.
I am pumped. We have some huge matchups coming up on the stream. There's some big games on the second stream too, so there's too much league content to completely fill everything.
Yeah, we have 15 games today. We're doing 7 of them here, the 7 biggest maybe, and there's a B stream. We can throw a link up to that maybe. People can check that out as well.
Yeah, it's easy if you do want to find it. www.esl.tv/IEM. You can check the streams, you can check the schedule. The 2 groups are 6. I mean, there's so many superstars in this entire week that naming them all would probably put everyone to sleep. So go check it out.
First match of the day, CJ Entus Blaze versus Incredible Miracle. 2 Korean teams. I'm not as familiar with those teams as I am, say, all the teams in the LCS, and I think maybe the European teams are feeling the same way. What can we expect from the first match?
To be honest, I don't really know. We've seen what LGIM, we've seen what Blaze can do. They've been innovators. They always bring out these new champions, but they've had a lot longer to prepare for IEM than these European teams. They had Super Week just off the back. Now, that's a big deal as far as they're concerned. We've seen results throwing that all over the place. So the European teams have been focusing on that. They've been training for that. We have got the likes of Millennium and Pain that weren't involved in that. But then Blaze and IEM, they've had time to relax, watch those teams, watch those practice, get some bit of research in, see what these teams are used to, see what they're playing, and try and formulate some strats against it. So, I mean, there's the common champions we've seen a lot at the moment. Gambit bringing Nasus back in, the Renekton's, Kazakhs, all those similar things, which they'll make a showing, but there's 110 champions on this patch.
Yes, on this patch. Touche. I see what you did there.
And at the moment, the last few tournaments, we've been seeing 70, 80 of them picked consistently across the whole thing. So there's a lot of different options.
There's a lot of things to prepare for. Interestingly, for this match as well, because there's 2 Korean teams, opening the game, they're going to know each other significantly better than they're going to know a lot of the European teams. They've had the ability to research them here for the LCS and, watch the games that have been leading up to it. So I'm definitely looking forward to the later games. I know we've got CJ Entus Blaze facing off against Fnatic, facing off against Gambit, and I know we are extremely stoked for those matchups.
Well, our 4th match of the day will be Blaze versus Gambit, which is going to be a rematch of the Katowice final.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, Gambit almost kind of stomped it.
They did stomp it. Let's be honest. They 2-0'd in the semi-final against Frost, who's in Group B, and they 2-0'd in the grand final, all almost on the back of Diamond Prox's jungles in Zhao. I mean, if we're going to be honest, that was really what started the snowballs going, or what started things going. So I would expect to see that champion being banned against them.
Yeah, Xin Zhao is strong with everything at the moment, the current set of the game. So it wouldn't surprise it if he's going to be our 100% pick ban for this tournament. We've had Olaf during Katowice, that was 100% pick ban around there. He's kind of fallen off Warmong's been nerfed a little bit. Olaf not quite as popular anymore, but Zinchao's right up there. Kale's still right up there. We mentioned Diamond Prox is running against Nasus, which if the Korean teams have been paying attention this weekend, that's something to get rid of. That Wither.
Well, let's actually just touch for a second. We're just waiting for the teams to jump into the lobby before we get this match underway, and we are on patch 3.02. So it's one prior to live. A number of changes haven't come into effect just yet, but it's effectively what the LCS has been running on for the last couple of weeks. So it's nothing that the viewers won't be used to.
Yeah, it's the last 3 weeks coming up this weekend. Yeah, it's been 3 weeks we've seen this patch, so there's plenty of games, plenty of resources on it. Everyone's used to it, everyone's in it. And I think it's a fairly well balanced one, to be honest. I mean, there's some very well publicized obvious things in the current patch that's being hotfixed, being changed, being sorted out, which are very one-sided, shall we say. But 302, very nice even patch, plenty of viable champions, and as I said, I want to talk about Nasus. I can't ignore it. It's
Nasus is going to be the go-to champion to look out for.
Yeah, he's such a big feature in the way Gambit have been running their strategies. That Wither has, once it's max ranked, which has been maxed in second it, Diamond Prox has been getting that after his E, it becomes 100% uptime. Tiny little bit of cooldown reduction, lock at the Iron Slurry, maybe Trillias, maybe something else along those lines. Spirit Visage gets 20% cooldown reduction. It's not going to be cooldown. Once you've got that down there, it lasts 4 or 5 seconds, and as soon as it's off cooldown, you just cast it again. So you can buy a Quicksilver Satchel, you can cleanse, but then it's straight back on you again within 2-3 seconds, and it's very, very hard to get away from that. We've seen Genja, again, Gambit Gaming, he started to run Ghost on his AD carries more than he has Flash, because kiting has become such a huge part of the game that with that extra movement speed, kiting with Ghost is a lot easier than just flashing over a wall quickly or just flashing an extra 2-3 steps in front. But with Wither on, even Ghost doesn't become that powerful, and you cannot kite at all once that's on you. You're going to have a very tanky team looking after your carry, or it's just going to die.
Yeah, when I choose Ghost, I get called a troll. Look at that. And the pro players bring it out, and now I can do it. That's great.
Exactly.
Just like my support fiddle.
Yeah, a support fiddle in the bottom. Oh, yeah.
I love my fiddle, man.
Well, we just wait to get this match to get underway. It will be Group A Game 1 over here at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. Let's have a look at the team sheets for, of course, both CJ, Entus, Blaze, and LG Incredible Miracle. We'll get these up on the screens and run you through exactly who the players are. I believe IEM are actually playing with a sub this event. So, it's going to be difficult to see how they can actually, how they're going to perform at such a high stakes tournament.
Yeah, we've got a couple of names in here too that you're going to recognise from the OGN Club Masters as opposed to their full-on normal IEM roster. So it's a bit of a mixture here too, which is, as we mentioned, going to hinder slightly the research that the Western teams are going to have to do against them. So there's not going to be quite as much available for them to look on.
Well, for Blaze, of course, we're going to see a number of high-profile players. Captain Jack, in particular, is probably one of the most well-known over in the West. His AD carry, so well-known for Graves last year. He's just an absolute monster in that bottom lane. And Panky, take us through the names.
Yeah, we've seen all these names playing. Flame, we saw him destroying some teams shortly after the World Finals, a quick switch out. But Helios there in the jungle, Ambition running some incredibly powerful AP mid. Captain Jack, Lustboy down in that bottom lane. Lustboy has really been making a name for himself. There's some big supports out there in Korea, the likes of Mad Life, but this guy, he's always been there. He's always been consistent. He's always been right out there with the best of them, and you just cannot ignore him. He will make those plays. He will start to control that bottom lane. And with Captain Jack's consistency and his micromanagement, the things we've seen him do on the likes of Vayne, we've seen the videos of his Sivir just cleansing out of CC after CC after CC.
His reaction time is scarily good.
Yeah, it's just unparalleled as far as I'm concerned right now in the league. No one else quite has that control over their fingers as Captain Jack does. So it's definitely going to be something to look out for. But that being said, LGIM, no team to be sniffed at. We last saw them Sao Paulo. They won that one, as we mentioned, and they've had a lot of time to train since then.
All right, well, if we can bring up the LGIM team sheet, we'll take a look at that team, assuming it's accurate with the subs and everything.
That's it. I believe that they placed first at Sao Paulo.
Yes.
They defeated a Nexus in a pretty one-sided affair, if I remember the games, personally. And there you can take a look. It is Lilac, Ring Troll, Mid King, Paragon, and Lasher. Ring Troll, I believe, is actually not here.
Yes, Ring Troll, I believe, has been switched out fairly recently, so they have a different playlist in there.
You know, if Entus is in Group B, they're at this tournament as well. If they can get out of the group stages into the playoffs, we might see another rematch, a rematch in the Sao Paulo finals as well.
It would be really cool to see. It's really great to see rematches of teams that have played previously and to see how far have they actually advanced since the last time they met. You know, have they learned? What have they changed? What have they adapted to? And it's the time to shine. You know, for teams like Nexus, for teams like IEM, Millennium that are not in the League of Legends Championship Series, this is their moment to grab some glory and, you know, get their hands on that Intel Extreme Masters Cup.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were surprised when MYM didn't qualify for LCS. The same thing for Millennium. They were two teams that were right up there. Everyone expected them to get in. Since not doing that, all they've been doing is training. All they've been doing is looking forward to this. They knew they were coming in. They knew this is where they were going to be. So they trained for it. So we've been hearing some rumors, hearing some whispers from teams they've scrimmed against, teams that are in the LCS, teams that aren't. They've been playing. They've got some tricks up the sleeve. They are playing very solidly, very strong at the moment. So I'd like to say we're going to see some upsets from them, and Nexus are one of them. And yeah, to see them come out of the group, I don't want to be too harsh, but it would be considered an upset. They're not one of the favourites in there. They're not the Koreans. They're not the Evo Geniuses. They're not the Gambits. So to see them come out of the group would be new, would be surprising. But, the same being said, wouldn't completely surprise me after this solid training session.
The advantage that they got is the rest of the teams have no idea what they're going to do. They haven't been streamed on a weekly basis. They haven't played in high-profile tournaments against high-profile teams. So the only research that you can really do is going onto their summoner profiles and seeing their match history. You know, seeing what have they been playing recently, or what did you bump into them in the solo queue? Because as a team, they simply haven't been in the spotlight, which gives them the surprise factor.
Well, I would love to see like a Branny bot lane, or, you know, something like maybe a double bruiser bot, or something really out there. For me, that, you know, as a spectator, that's really, really exciting to see people just smash the meta and try something different. And there's a lot of potential for that at a tournament like this. Because, again, yeah, these teams are so hidden. People haven't been watching them on a weekly basis. I know with the LCS, we get to see these teams every day, just about, in so many games. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. I really hope they bring something very special to the game.
Talking about that as well, talking about smashing the meta and doing things slightly differently, we've seen that with, you know, AP Needly being run bot lane over the weekend. It was something it caught Evil Geniuses by surprise and ended up resulting in their loss. And in a setup like this where you've got groups of 6, each team is going to play 5 games, you have that air of safety that you can afford to throw a cheese strategy out there because you have a number of games. You know, if you go 3-2 in your group, you could be, you know, placing first or second, and you only need to make it in the top half, you know, the top 3 to actually make it through to the playoffs.
Yeah, and as you say, top 3, first one goes straight through to semi-finals, other 2 play another game, but 3 of 6, that's not a too unachievable goal.
No, not at all.
We are starting to see players list in, and there is SmeB. That's, I believe, to be the replacement for Ring Drop. That's going to be in the jungle. So he was seen at the OGN Club Masters. Did have a couple of showings in there. It's not a name that really jumped out as a big new face that we're going to see.
Especially because Ring Troll was so well known and was so
quite big shoes,
incredibly famous for his positional play, for his setups, his ganks, etc. To step into that role as the substitute, it's a daunting ask of any player. Especially
in a venue and an event like this. This is the IEM World Championships. This is going to be incredible. I mean, last year, Gambit Gaming, previously Moscow 5, did win it. They'd just come, that was when they exploded onto the scene. They qualified from Kiev, where they brought out Shaivana, they brought out the very aggressive counter-juggling strategies and just walked all over everyone. Came into Hanover, did the same thing again, beat Dignitas in the final fairly convincingly. Now they're back here to try and defend it again. They're looking good, they are.
This is something we touch on every single Intel Extreme Masters, that somehow Gambit Gaming, they just seem to turn it on. They just seem to find the gear and just tear absolutely everybody apart. You know, at Katowice, it was a very close call. They only made it out of the groups on the time rule. I mean, there's the possibility of that happening here. I mean, 5 games, if everybody goes 3-2, if people go 2-3, it's going to come down to the time difference again. And teams need to be aware of that. And, you know, we definitely know that Gambit will, because they just scraped by the skin of their teeth, but they did manage to succeed and actually pick up the victory.
Yeah, as you say, they came out of the group and then they just... I mean, they were a completely different team that second day, that playoff day, coming up against Blaze and Frost. It was just... I don't know.
The running joke was that Groove got the belt, you know?
Yes, Groove got the belt.
Got them into shape overnight, you know, got them into those playoffs. So it is going to be good. We've got about 7 of the 10 players in the lobby at the moment. We should hopefully get this away soon.
While we wait for these last 3 players to join, we have a new sponsor at Intel Extreme Masters. Raid Call is now another primary sponsor of the tournament, and we have a Raid Call channel set up for you. So if you are totally satisfied by Twitch chat and you want to bring, you know, the cerebral awesomeness that is Twitch chat and bring it to real voice, you can do that now in our Raid Call channel, which we are also in and listening in on. So you can join the channel. It's 1997. Yeah, join us in our raid call channel. It's going to be a lot of fun.
There's quite a discussion going on in there at the moment already, actually. So yeah,
it's quite nice.
Come join in that chat.
If you want to remember, it's the 20th anniversary of Star Wars. Just saying, 1997.
Didn't even know that.
So yeah, just throwing that out there as a little piece of useless trivia. We're in at the moment in terms of the analyst desk. We're using Panky's account, so we got a lovely pink theme on our raid call app. It's shocking.
That wasn't my choice.
It's shocking.
That wasn't my account.
I was allowed to pick the color, so I went, why not? Let's go for it,
Wakes us up every time we bring it on screen.
Yeah, it is a little bit loud. It is a little bit loud. So yeah, we're pretty much just waiting for this first match to get underway and get it going. Don't forget that there is a second stream. It is being hosted by ESL Australia, Papa Smithy and Pastry Time. Thank you. I always forget Pastry Time. I'm sorry, dude. I love you a lot. The two of them are going to be running the stream all day long, and they're going to be covering the majority of Payne's matches. I believe that they're mostly going to be running on stream too.
Yeah,
and
there's 8 games to be
Yes, it's going to be interesting to see how they perform, because at Sao Paulo they had a couple of big names to play against, but let's be honest, the scales and the stakes here are even higher than what there was in Sao Paulo.
And we saw what the Brazilian crowd, when they won that one game against LGIM, it wasn't Payne, I know, but when that one Brazilian team took a game off LGIM, it went absolutely insane in that arena. It was incredible. I don't think I've seen many crowds quite that enthusiastic. I mean, the Polish crowds are very much behind their players. The French crowds have been huge.
My memory of the event has goosebumped me all over. Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah, those Brazilians, they know how to party, they know how to celebrate, and they did it very well. But Payne here again have that opportunity to kind of bring that back, try and top that reaction. They've got more teams to beat, they've got bigger teams to beat, and they've got LGIM to do it again. But it does look like we just about have all the players in. They're just switching around, getting themselves in order. We should be in Champions Select anywhere within the next 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be awesome to see what these two teams decide to ban out against one another. And what is very, very key, especially for this group, the remaining teams that are not playing, there's 4 teams playing games right now. Everyone's going to be sitting and watching these matchups and going, right, what did Blaze ban against Incredible Miracle? What did Incredible Miracle ban against Blaze? Let's make some notes, add this to our little notebook and keep track of it, because, in terms of research, in terms of watching these teams and keeping an eye on them, it is a little bit more difficult because of the workload, the schedule, the amount of games that we're currently playing in the LCS. And for teams like, Millennium, who haven't been in the situation, I'm sure their playbook and their notebook is going to be substantially larger for each of these teams.
Trying to do that too, and the likes of SK, Evo Geniuses, they've been in Cologne, they've been training for LCS for the last couple of days. They're not actually leaving, they are travelling to the venue today because they don't play till tomorrow.
Yeah.
So as a result, they're going to miss a few games while they're travelling, while they're arriving, while they're setting up. So, I mean, we're all in different living situations, but the Wi-Fi setups and the internet connections aren't the strongest. We're in different places, I mentioned.
We're in a little village in Hanover.
Yeah. Their research, once they leave the event, might not be quite as facilitated as previously thought. So missing some of these games could prove very detrimental towards tomorrow, towards the playoff days, once they get out of group and start coming up against some of these teams. So it's an interesting thing to take note. And these guys, these are going to be here from the start. They've been here very early this morning, getting themselves set up. We'll be able to watch all of tomorrow's games.
5:30 a.m. These teams are arriving to train in the morning.
No pressure. I mean, 5:30 a.m. The games run until 6 p.m. So you're talking about 12 hours at least. We are finally into Champions Select for Game 1 here at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. I'm excited.
I am excited. I mean, they're all in there. They're waiting. We haven't seen any bands yet, but you can see it on their faces. They're all ready. IEM. I love all the sponsors they have done there. Just the way the Korean uniforms there, we saw back when they were on Azubu, Blaze and Frost with their button-up shirts, sponsors down the sides. It's just, I don't know, smart. I really like it. I want to see it spread over towards the west.
Fashion approval from Panky himself. All right.
You've made it when. So, first 2 bans, Rumble and Kale removed from the pool. Kale, not really surprising. She's incredibly strong at the moment. Can play that mid, can play jungle. Rumble, a little bit different. It's not something we've seen being banned really all that often.
No, I mean, we saw Wicked this weekend, LCS. He tried it out, gave it a try. He's one of these champions that's been consistently played.
Yeah.
Never really been winning every game, never really been losing everything, not been banned this much. But if you go through, solo queue, it's a little bit different, but he has a very high win percentage in solo queue. As a result, why wouldn't he work in tournament play? He's got that win percentage because he has that incredible area control ultimate, that massive slow equalizer that can be cast from quite a range, does a lot of damage too when you've got people stuck on it. Slows are becoming stronger and stronger at the moment. Then he's got that very big damage cone in front of him. He's a resourceless champion. Hasn't got mana, hasn't got anything like that, so he can sit there and spam his abilities out. Very strong in lane, very strong 1v1, and with that movement of speed boost in his W, it's a little bit of a challenge to gank.
Well, we've been looking at that. The rest of the bans have gone through. Xin Zhao and Jarvan removed from CJ Entus Blaze. Nothing too surprising there. Jarvan is fairly popular over on the Korean server in terms of being that jungle champion. Interestingly, Thresh has actually been removed as well. I'm trying to think back the last week or two, the games that I have seen coming out of Korea, and I haven't seen too much Thresh myself, but to be fair, my viewing for that schedule has also been significantly less. So,
yes.
And then of course Twisted Fate being removed from Ambition. He's just a phenomenal Twisted Fate player. They didn't want to deal with that.
That's a fairly obvious ban once you know those players. We mentioned Xin Zhao before. Suspected 100% pick man taken off there, despite the fact that Blaze had first pick, which is a little bit surprising, the fact they value Shen over Xin. But I mean, we've seen Shen time and time again in these tournaments. He's been a consistent pick for a long time. The fact that he can split push all day long, he can lane very well 1v1, especially against Aurelia. It's a fairly even matchup. It's going to depend a lot on the jungler input as well, see if they can snowball one way or the other. But then that global ultimate allowing him to just teleport down to those other lanes, help his teams out. The big shield, even if his teleport gets cancelled, that shield is huge. And shields are becoming a more and more consistent part of play too. Lockett the Iron Slurry has suddenly been, since the Season 3 item changes, they've suddenly realised how strong that item is. It's a big shield as it starts to level up.
I see on the other side, Lilac has currently locked in Ezreal for Paragon, and I know leading up to this morning we were talking about champions, and Jared, as an AD carry player, you were saying, I think we might see an Ezreal.
Yeah, I took a wild stab threw it out there. Maybe an Ezreal, maybe a Misfortune.
It's the bravest prediction in the history of predictions.
I'm silently cheering for a Tristana. I know that she's actually seeing a lot of use now in North America. Heartbeat,
and Cop.
With this Blade of the Ruin came out of nowhere, and then Cop brought it in. I haven't seen it in Europe yet, and I don't know if it's being played a lot in Korea, but that range at 18, if it goes late, so powerful. I would love to see it. Probably not in this game.
Well, we'll see. It's a possibility. At the moment, no, AD carry still needs to be locked in for CJ Entus Blaze, but at the moment, Zed and Lulu currently being hovered on for Incredible Miracles. Zed, of course, great single target damage, immense lane presence, can also be used in the jungle. I believe the first time we actually seen him here in the West, it was actually being used in the jungle. So it has that ability to go mid, has the ability to go jungle, so we'll see how IEM decide to play it out.
Yeah, I'm just looking at CJ Entus B or Blaze's lineup. They actually have a fairly strong lineup to run Tristana right there. That is a very powerful, tanky front line, and she can abuse that range, stay right behind it. That solar stun locking up everyone on LG as they come forward. Or Caitlyn's range, yes, it is becoming more and more popular recently. It was the previous patches 3.01, the 1.74 as it was before that. Caitlyn Nunu was just everywhere. It was like first team pick Caitlyn Nunu.
Her early laning phases.
Cassiopeia has been
so strong.
That was a very quick lock-in too. I mean, I love the fact they abused the last pick on that too. Waiting all the way down, picking a Zed with Mid King too. It could have been that middle pick. It could have been his mid laner. Was against Ryze. It works. I mean, you do go heavy armor pen. Ryze does go heavy armor to begin with, so it's a little bit unusual, but there's that possibility. And as soon as they saw those last two picks come out, they went in with that instant Cassiopeia.
All right, well, the players are ready. I'm so ready to watch this game. I'm giddy with the excitement, the privilege of being an actual spectator in this game.
It's going to be exciting. Cassiopeia versus Ryze is going to be a very exciting matchup. I mean, they're both high skill, skill caps. It's going to be landing spell after spell after spell, and it's very, very scary.
I like the fact Ryze running teleport. Now, Cass is not going to know this yet, but every time he teleports out of lane, Cassiopeia is going to be able to push it into turret very quickly, and it's going to punish him. It's going to do a lot of tower damage.
All right, well, we're ready to get the game going. We're going to throw it away to our casters. We're opening the day with Lee, D-Man Smith, and Joe Miller. Have fun.
Now, and Cassiopeia, something we haven't seen in the European scene for a very long time. Ocelot will be happy with this. He's, of course, playing tomorrow, so as it is, it'd be interesting to see how this one turns out. Standard bottom lanes, of course, we see between the two, the duo lanes. There they are on your screen. CJ Entus Blaze and LGIM Incredible Miracle. It's going to be an all-Korean setup. If you have just joined us, it is going to be the blue team of CJ Entus Blaze. We're just going to call them Blaze, I think. It's going to be much easier that way. And LGIM as the red team playing from top to bottom. We have a pause instantly coming out, which, as you would expect, first day of a tournament, first game of a tournament. You can see it's going to be Incredible America that paused it. Immediate action, talking to the admin. So obviously got an issue with a mouse or a keyboard or something going on there.
Yeah, and obviously they've had some changes in this lineup as well. The real biggest one, obviously, is to the jungle there. We had Ring Troll, yes, who was replaced by Smeb. Lilac then moving from the top lane into the jungle.
Yeah, definitely a change around. We were actually just saying, can you get in the order? And it was like, no, we're in an order. Because we weren't sure who would actually change, because it was Ring Troll only just left in February, end of February as well. So it's interesting to see how long they've actually had to practice. You know, the fact that they've changed this lineup, whether it was a known that it was coming. You know, Mid King, fantastic mid laner against Ambition. Going to be an interesting setup, that one. See how they level themselves out. Of course, you know, the CeBIT Blaze or CJ Entus Blaze team, as you would have formerly known them, are very well-known names. You know, Flame in there now kind of established himself. Before we were questioning his abilities, but he's really proven himself in the OGM Winter. Of course, speaking of OGM Winter, it was Blaze that knocked out LGIM in that. It was 3-2 that tournament. Lots of craziness going on there. A Ziggs pick came out in that.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing, that LGIM actually were 2-0 up against what they were then obviously a Zubu Blaze. But then after that, they ended up losing 3 games in a row. As you said, there was a Ziggs pick in game number 3 coming out of LGIM in that one. So hopefully, I mean, You're the real Ziggs lover here.
I like Ziggs, I've got to be honest, but I'm kind of surprised when I do see it in a tournament, because it's one of those skill shot champions, and skill shot champions often don't get picked up in these tournament play, because there's easier champions out there that can do just as good a job, and that's generally the problem. We do see obviously skill shot champions when they hit, when they're great. You know, it's great to see, but you know, you're thinking your Nidalee Spears. You know, it's always dramatic. But Ziggs is sadly one of those people.
Yeah, sadly enough. Looks like we're going to be having a remake here in game. As we said, LJM seem to have a couple of problems, but they're slowly but surely getting themselves back over into the matchup, and we should be able to kick this one off. So, who are your favourites coming into this? I mean, LJM, obviously, they won Intel Extreme Masters in Brazil, even though they were the only team outside of Brazil to lose to another Brazilian team. That was like the big shock. It was an amazing comeback game as well. The crowd in Brazil went absolutely mental for that one. But Blaze, LGIM, who's a stronger team in your opinion?
Well, you've got to give it to Blaze, surely. I mean, the fact that they did beat them in the last tournament play they had, albeit CJ Entus did not have a very good showing at the Club Masters, but Club Masters was a very different type of tournament. The fact that the coaches were making the picks, you know, the fact that the players were mixing around between the teams. We do see, of course, the trophy there on the show. That is what they're all playing for. Gambit's name, of course, was formerly Moscow 5, was on that. You know, that is the team that's named on there. Who will be the next name? That's the question. We've got a massive lineup of teams here, really of top caliber teams as well. And it's interesting for me, the fact that, again, Frost are in the same group with Evil Geniuses. Evil Geniuses have yet to beat them in a big tournament play. So there's so many top teams. SK Telecom Team 1, they had such a great performance at Intel Extreme Masters Cologne, but after that they've not really kicked off. They've not had a great showing the Stars Wars League. Not worked out for them too much. We're having the picks and bans, they're just rattling through them. You can see them on your screen, they're just setting themselves up. I'm interested, and you know the fact that they touched on this on the analysis desk, of these guys have been coming in really early on. How have they adjusted? When did they arrive? What is their sleep pattern now? It's going to be a long day for them here. We've got 7 games streamed overall. I don't know how many group games it turns into. There's 5 games per team, isn't it? Because
I think it's 15 games overall.
Yeah, they've got a lot of games to go through. So there's a lot of matches for these guys, a lot of pressure. Obviously, in the OGN setup, these guys simply have 1 game a week, which is like we have in the League of Legends Championship Series. It's a very different thing to just adjust from straight, you know, something you're comfortable with. You can practice all week for that one match. Coming into this, they've got to have probably, I don't know, what is it, work out 7, 8, 9, 10 games, something like that, to reach that finals. It's a lot of stamina asked for these guys, and you can see the teams are setting up. Fnatic actually just sat to the side of them. Obviously, they just had a great showing in the LCS. You know, these guys have just come off the back of also, you know, a grueling Super Week, I think you can call it, in the Championship Series. They've only just come straight here from Cologne, so the stamina is going to be tested from the Koreans and the European teams at this event.
And for the commentators as well.
Yes, the commentators.
I've got to point that one out, because these guys have travelled from Korea. We had a 3.5-hour drive in a bus up here, and well, I feel jet lagged already. I don't know what that is. Maybe sleeping in a bed with Jason has really caused me a few problems, but I don't know. Tiring stuff, that's for sure.
It's good to get cozy with your co-caster.
That's exactly. It's all team building exercises. That's what they tell me, at least. So, first game here of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. As you say, is it more of a marathon than a sprint here? Not quite LCS season marathon, but it's spread over 4 days. It's a long, long way, and I don't think it was mentioned yet that we changed things up slightly. The grand final is going to be a best of 5.
Yeah, and that's another test of marathon abilities, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, the group stage is a best of 1. We're going to go through it, so there's obviously 6 teams per group. Top does go straight through to the semi-finals, which is obviously something everybody wants to get in. You want to skip that one game. If you're going to have a long haul, you need to try and get past that one. Quarterfinals, semi-finals, all best of 3, of course. And, you know, second and third place, they're the guys that are going to get jumped through. So second from Group A will play second from third from Group B. Third from Group A will play second from Group B. So you don't want to really be in those positions. Of course, you want to qualify, so if they're the only spots you can get. Unfortunately, the fact that we do have such strong groups means there's going to be 3 great teams that don't make it through to that stage. There's the crowd, of course. We are live, and interesting setup there. And we do get into the game. As it stands, the teams are setting themselves up. You can see them on your screens with a rather interesting red background, but there we are. There's the game. That's what everybody wants to see. So let's get things underway. It is going to be Blaze as the blue team and LGIM as the red team, setting up in that death bush, which we saw Wicked walking into just a few days ago.
Yeah, you just can't afford to do stuff like that, and I don't think we're going to see that out of these Korean teams. But you know, as the day wears on, you get tired and you can fall into those little traps of unconcentrated moments, let's call them. But right at the start, we're not seeing too much happening there. A couple of wards being put down on this top side. They've actually pinged here, CJ Blaze. They know that ward is down as they put one right on top. They did actually have a pink ward at his disposal there, which kind of surprised me that they didn't clear it out. We've been seeing a lot from the Europeans doing exactly that.
Yeah, we saw Lasher putting the Explorer ward out towards the Wraith area now, and now he's just put the main ward out. So just using that Explorer ward early on. As it is, we don't have those down. Ambition has one of those in his bag as well as Lustboy. So we'll get to see those coming out early. Lilac, of course, taking away those Wraiths. He's going to be setting himself up, going across towards that red buff. So we are going to see the duo lane going towards the top. Also, Flame is going to be a straight-on 2v1. Good old meta shift in pretty much standard stuff these days, honestly. Helios going to be stunning off on the red buff, so both junglers on the same path.
Yeah, Helios actually going a little bit low from this one, but obviously he's not going to be dying. These guys aren't quite that bad at my level of jungling. Let's say I'd have been dead right there. So
we have an invade here.
Yeah, we are going to have this invade coming down. The red side of LGIM moving in towards Blazer's blue buff, and actually are going to start off here with Lilac and Lasher. I'm not seeing any kind of reaction out of Blaze as of yet. They can't really move down. Volibear's actually going in towards that bottom lane. We'll probably try and cross over towards the blue himself, but his is already gone.
Yeah, he's going to be going in. He has got the smite, so he should be able to take this one down. The smite was used by Lilac as well to take away that blue buff. It looks like he's actually hanging as he's not backing. He's just waiting there, waiting to see whether the jungler's going to come across, waiting to see whether Ryze is going to come maybe over and try and help him out, expecting to see whether Ambition goes for it. Instead, it looks like it's going to be that classic 3-minute dive on towards the top lane. Lilac getting himself set up. It's going to be Flame he goes towards, but Ashen is a very hard champion to dive towards. How Lilac is going to be able to pull this one off, we don't know. Doesn't look like it's going to be the reverse. Meanwhile, for Volibear, Helios we can see backing away. He's going towards the Wraiths. The ping goes down. They realise that actually bottom is safe, so CeBIT is going to be safe. We'll see how this one plays out, Joe.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Flame's got to get away from this one as he actually dashes in towards Lilac. Ezreal going to follow in there, and there's the flash burn from Flame.
Yeah, he manages to get away. Ignite was also used out, but he does survive, and it does mean that 3-man push on towards the top tower. Will they be able to take it down? The pressure, of course, on that bottom lane, not as strong. Helios, though, is going to counter this one. This is what we've talked about in the European scene lately. Obviously, North American have had a lot of these lane switches, and it can be countered. If the jungler comes and helps you out, you can save that turret, and that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, and right now, with the help of Helios, they've at least saved it for now. Down to half HP in the bottom lane. Captain Jack and Lustboy are actually pushing in towards that tower as well, as we see a bit of damage exchange in the middle lane. But, well, 2 men versus 3. This Irelia obviously just going to be soaking up as much farm as Smeb can in this situation. Putting out a couple of hits on his way through down to Lustboy, but it's all about saving this tower. And at this rate, they're going to end up losing this one.
I'm interested to see Ambition obviously going to be tested a little bit down this mid lane, because Mid King is actually on Cassiopeia is a pretty good counter to Rise. So it'll be interesting purely between the two teams whether he's simply selected that. Smeb actually goes straight towards Caitlyn's trap there. Thought Captain Jack may well try and follow that one on. We did see, of course, the power cord coming out. Lilac, though, going to come around in towards the mid lane. We do see Ambition. He is pretty heavily deep in there. Is he going to try and flash through? He's had to force the flash away. So Lilac again making another flash burn.
Yeah, another flash down, and well, we know how devastating that can be a little bit later on down the lines when those flashes aren't anymore available. Lasher just going to back off from Paragon. Right now, Captain Jack is still pushing here. His traps keep being set. Smeb up to back up to 3/4 of his health remaining now, so question is, how fast can they push into this one? They're keeping the jungler in the top lane here, CJ Blaze. They want to make sure that they don't end up losing that one. And here we see Ambition coming down now. Actually will spot Lilac there in that tri-bush, but that may be enough for them to get the first turret of the game with this one. Just the presence of Ambition going to force that bottom lane away, and this is surely first turret for Blaze.
Great play from CJ Blaze there, and they do manage to just protect out and cover that turret, so they are going to get the first turret of the game. Captain Jack's going to farm it out, make sure, see if they can keep them away from lane as long as possible. Meanwhile, the top lane is completely defending it out there, and it will be the first one going down shortly. So simply a case of the mid laner helping things out, and they are going to take it down eventually. Eventually, Joe, it's going to go. There it is, first hour of the game for CJ Entus Blaze.
Yeah, it was Captain Jack just making sure he got the every last bit of farm there at that bottom lane. As we are going to see Helios going charging in there. And just arcane shifts away. You don't want to get flung into the turret by that bear.
No, that bear wanted to get straight aggressive on him, and Paragon was quick to react to that one. Of course, you know, you can have that issue if you actually arcane shift that split second too late. You will go, and then it'll still fling you all the way back in towards that tower. It's such a critical arcane shift from Paragon there. Would have definitely been almost certainly a dead Ezreal.
Yeah, especially with the fact that Shen's there to taunt him up right underneath that tower. As well as that lane is going to be swapped back into by Captain Jack and Lustboy. They've already done the business down in the bottom lane and taken that first turret away. Irelia's actually farming down there. If we look at those 2v1 lanes, you know, the Irelia and Shen both have 21 CS apiece, so they've kept it even on that front. Caitlyn is just a little bit further ahead than Ezreal, but he's obviously backed off and going to be coming back into lane. As Mid King going for a little bit of wonder here. It's just to get the ward down onto that bottom side, make sure that he doesn't get pushed from the bottom.
Well, you do see Captain Jack in it. See, how are they going to switch this around? Because actually, Paragon has gone back to the top here, so they're not going to try and pressure. It's simply a case of defending duty now. Can they keep Captain Jack away from this turret? He's got a 10 CS lead with the obviously advantage he gained down that bottom lane when he did force the top laner, or Smeb, I guess we can just say. We say top laner when they do switch lanes so often. Did force him out of the lane, but also you see Flame obviously was pressured. He lost a lot of CS in that exchange. As it is, Smeb only gone back. He got the Crystalline Flask and the Thorn's Blade. Aggressive stuff. Flame, meanwhile, building up towards probably it's either going to be the League of Warmogs or it's going to be a Sunfire Cape. Pretty standard build from them. Nothing unusual really being built out across the teams. Ambition obviously gone with that Tear of the Goddess, going to stack that one out. Double Doran's Rings, meanwhile, for Mid King in that mid lane. And actually keeping Ambition fairly well in check. Of course, Cassiopeia is a very, very strong lane pusher, so you'd expect to see Ambition up against his turret a lot here.
Yeah, doing a good job of that, certainly Mid King up until this point. We're 8 minutes into it. If you look at the goal difference, only at 300. No first blood, of course, up until now. We do have the first turret already taken down, though, by CJ Blaze. And I know you guys are already getting ready for the drinking games here. How many times we say Frost by accident, how many times we say Azubu by accident. But that's just natural. What can we say? It's going to be a long day here, as we are going to see that blue buff being given over here to Mid King, just held off there by Lilac, and it looks like the same will happen for Blaze as well.
So he does return back to the mid lane, and we do see obviously Ambition coming around to pick up the red of his own. Invade comes out from Lilac. He's going in towards. He's going to try and steal away that red buff as it is, and he may well be able to get this one, because obviously Helios helping out on that blue buff. It means Lilac's taking advantage. That's a pure speed difference that they have there, and the ability he can get around. He's come in, stole it, and got the hell out of there.
Yep, and Helios there actually just going in to do his raids first of all. So we've just seen him obviously go through that ward. So he knows that red buff has now been taken away from him. In this top lane, Captain Jack and Lustboy doing a good job of pressing. I mean, we know how strong a Caitlyn Sona lane is for pushing your opponents back there, so no real surprises. He's got roughly a 10 CS, and as I say roughly, it's exactly a 10 CS lead there as Captain Jack, plus doing the work with that tower down. Still only means a 200 gold difference between them though.
Yeah, interesting setup from Lilac here as well. He's going straight for the Brutalizer, not hanging around. He wants to get the damage down. There's a ward and a couple of pots coming out, so he hasn't gone towards it yet. He's got the boots in there as well. He looks like he's going to be going towards top. He's already pinged that top lane, so it looks like they're going to try and set up a gank in his top lane. Captain Jack keeping the pressure on towards that turret. He's already took a good half the health off it there. As soon as he gets that passive snipe straight on towards Lasher, keeps him at bay. Lilac looks like he's going to take the golems before coming up here, but the pressure really on his turret right now. Getting another Piltover Peacemaker put across Paragon. They are keeping him at bay. Ward goes down. There's a pink in the tri-bush as well, so we are going to see a potential gank here if they can make it count.
Thing is, you can see that Blaze are starting to back away a little bit. That ward going down, they're going to be very cautious. They've not seen Zed for a while, as we are going to see the ping come down. Captain Jack is going to be the one to try and escape, and he just turned around, put the pressure onto Lilac, and he couldn't really get involved there.
Yeah, the rest of the team weren't quite on the same page there, and that was simple ward that Lustboy only just placed. Spotted him straight away, so great timing there from Lustboy, and he tries to turn the damage back on there, spots Lilac, and then just going to back out of that lane. Simply a case of LGIM protecting as much as they can here, and as it is, they're just slowly but surely losing out. We are seeing CeBIT. He's gone for the mallet to start with, so is he going to be rushing a Triforce? That would be a very aggressive Aurelia, something obviously we did see Aurelia the other day in the LCS, and well, he went straight for the Warmogs, I believe it was. So first items been different between the Korean teams and the European teams so far.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing to really note in there as well, that obviously with the Season 3 stuff, we saw the Koreans playing first, then we saw the Europeans get involved, as Flame actually down in this bottom lane is going to come under a little bit of pressure. We can see that Blaze actually managing to take that top turret down finally, as we did see Zed come in from the bottom side. In that bottom lane though, Shen and Aurelia did have a bit of a matchup, but as you can expect when the Giants belt's in there for Shen and that chain vest, not really a lot going on.
Not a lot going on, but we do see the Catalyst and Protector being picked up by Ambition. Sorcerer's shoes picked up this time by Mid King as he backs off. Lilac trying to catch Captain Jack out and force him. Say no, you're not backing away. Net shots across, and he will back off quite successfully. So Lilac not really having a great deal of success coming out of the jungles so far, and Zed hasn't been able to pick up any kills. Did force those flashes early on, but nothing really followed up from it. This time we do see CeBIT coming in towards the mid lane. Ambition, of course, with that flash back available, still actually hasn't used his teleport either to go anywhere, which is something we've seen a lot in the Europeans, certainly thinking of extermin from Giants with teleport and rise all the time. As it is, Ambition quite happy to stay in that middle, doesn't want to let Mid King push his tower.
Well, that's the problem that he's had. The bottom lane, would they be able to lock an Aurelia down at this stage? Probably not. And top lane's been pushed constantly, so there's not really much room for Ambition up till now to be able to get involved there. But we've seen that even if it doesn't get used this early game, later when we go in there, you see him teleporting into the backside of team fights and what have you, and that can really throw things. As finally we see an attempt here on Dragon. 3 men from Blaze. Oh, there we just saw Mid King, and you see the damage already that he can put out onto Captain Jack. Double Doran's Ring, Amp Tome, and these Sorcerer's Shoes up until now. But this Dragon is going to be going down, and it will be smited away there by Helios. CeBIT just came around to have a look. and nothing for the taking. Ambition actually having to go up into this top lane now to cover up, because with that dragon take, they were left vulnerable in the top lane, but he's going to hold it. Nicely done here from Blaze.
Yeah, Ambition's just covering off this mid lane while the duo pair of Captain Jack and Lustboy, who've already taken 2 turrets, move in towards the mid lane, and that mid lane now turret is already been taking some damage, and Mid King now is going to be pressured here. We do see, of course, Lilac getting ready to try and get a gank on towards Captain Jack, but he is a very, very slippery champion on Caitlyn. He obviously has that 90 caliber net. He has flash available, has exhaust as well. So keeping the pressure down. Lilac helping out, going to get a quick blue buff there for Mid King because he has to back away. You can already see the moment it happened, Captain Jack stepped straight up, put some shots on towards that turret. Lasher looking like he's going to have to switch around with Paragon. You can see they're moving in towards that mid lane, and they're going to have to defend this one out. We do see Ambition also moving across towards that blue, so it looks like the lanes are going to switch around a little bit.
Yeah, and Blaze wanted to make sure that they don't end up losing that blue buff on the top lane. It's down in the bottom, actually, again. Smeb and Flame have not really looked at that lane too much because it is one of those face basher lanes where not really too much happens. In terms of the CS, though, Irelia is starting to build out that lead now. Sunfire Cape is finished on Shen, so that should give him a little bit more to work with in this lane as Lustboy in the middle taking a lot of damage. Ultimate whiff there, but we've got Paragon coming in. There's a True Shot Barrage coming out as well, but they stay safe. Still no first blood, almost 15 minutes in.
Good pressure from Mid King there, forcing actually the 90 caliber net, and the 90 caliber net towards Paragon and Lasher, and actually they nearly made it count. Wasn't quite to be though, and again still no kills in this game. 15 minutes gone, and the irony is that, you know, we talk about how aggressive the Koreans are. We do see a teleport coming in, Ambition going in towards Lasher, could be Crescendo going across there as we get Incredible Miracle flashing up on the screen, but they're going to try and get the first blood here. Will it happen? Yes, it will. There it is. Captain Jack gets one. That's going to be a second as well. Paragon goes down, but you did see Mid King managing to pick up a kill on Helios, and it's a triple kill for Captain Jack as he puts the ace in the hole on Lilac.
That is really bad now for LGIM. 3 kills coming down for the AD carry. Obviously, we did see Volibear go down to Cassiopeia in the meantime. That's going to give him the Giant's Belt plus the Revolver, but Blaze looking to take their 3rd turret of the game here. They already have the bottom and top outer turrets down. The middle outer turret going to fall here as well, and you can probably expect CJ Blaze to start getting up in towards that LGIM jungle, getting those wards down and really strangle holding the map.
Yeah, and Captain Jack now is going to have a massive chunk of gold. He's already built up towards that Bloodthirster. The Bloodthirster will come out any second, and the moment he backs off and he's just passing that ward, they realise he's backing. Not a great deal they can do. So 3 turrets to 1. True Shot Barrage might be able to stop him. Just has to dodge out of the way of it. And, well, LGIM are going to maybe try and pressure with the 4-man push and try and get this turret down. It is already put a bit down, but I don't think they're really going to have enough to tank it. We do see Lilac maybe going towards it, and well, Flame was just off the side there taking the Wraith, so Lilac can't go on any invades, and LGIM are forced to back away. So pressure all coming from CJ Entus Blaze so far.
Yeah, and you look at the gold difference now, how that suddenly crept up. We were hanging around 200-300 difference the entire time, and it's like, bam, okay, there we go. Almost a 5k gold lead for them with 16 minutes. And it was at 15 minutes I was talking about, no first blood and 200 gold difference between them. Lustboy there moving up towards the race. Actually, they were just backing right on top of a ward. So CJ Blaze right now doing a great job here in match number 1. Obviously, this group stage is a long, drawn-out affair. But we also should mention something that we've not had to rely on in a little while since Brazil. The timings make a difference at the end of the groups here. We are going to see Paragon getting caught out in that top lane, and he will just about get away with it.
Well, nuclear bomb landed on Paragon there as you see Ambition trying to take him down. Lilac, of course, clearing out those wraiths, but it's the mid lane where a lot of it's happening. It was Captain Jack, the man currently with a Bloodthirster, went back, got a Zeal as well, so massively ahead currently in terms of gold. 3-0 in kills, the all 3 kills in the game, all gone to that 1 AD carry. Ace in the hole coming out, having to use the shield there, does manage to get through, but forces Lasher back now, trying to keep the pressure down. Looking like they're going to try and steal away the Wraiths there. We do see Mid King coming around, he's going to try and put the pressure back on Lustboy, but Crescendo misses there on Mid King. And Lustboy trying to take advantage there, but Paragon comes around to protect him. But that ultimate is going to be down now. Can LGIM try and make something from it?
Well, let's have a look. as we are going to see Kaskapir trying to push this lane back. Ezreal was just in there behind him as well. Top lane Zed actually just backing right on top of a ward. Rise knows that, and as he stops backing, he's still going to be stood on top of a ward. So Ambition knows that position is there. Doesn't have flash or teleport available. Obviously was used in that last little exchange in the middle lane. He now has, of course, that Rod of Ages with the Sorcerer's Shoes and Distortion on there to reduce the mainly his teleport and flash.
Yeah, it's something we haven't seen. I don't think any European teams do yet. It's pretty much always been, oh, Lash is caught out. He's going to go down. It's going to be Flame that surely picks it up. Yes, he will. There it is. They're tanking the turret out as well. Meanwhile, at the top there's Smeb, also pressured by Ambition. Bottom turret does go down. And again, CJ Entus continue to push through. I should say Blaze because there is 2 CJ Entus in this tournament.
Yeah, at least we didn't call him a Zubu yet, though. No. Yet, I will stress. But either way, with that inner turret in the bottom lane taken down, Blaze are going to be gifted that blue buff over as well. That will actually go on to Caitlyn. I don't think they really mind who it went to. It was just a case of getting hold of it. But now they move straight back over and are going to be taking Dragon number 2. And this will be the second Dragon that LGM have just not been able to contest for. And look how the gold again has crept up. It's a 7,000 gold lead here.
Well, I'm just wondering whether Smeb's actually going to get that Trinity Force before he loses all of his turrets. He's trying to build up towards it. You can see he's already got that Sheen in there. But honestly, by the time he gets that built, you can see he's gone back. He's only got another part of the Zeal. Meanwhile, his opponent, Flame, has already nearly got that Warmog stacked out. He's already got the Sunfire Cape. He's just going to be a monster before Smeb even gets close to completing that item. So he's desperately falling behind despite the fact he's got the same CS, just not being involved in the same fights. Flame, of course, 1-0-3, helping out his team. 3-0-1, though. Captain Jack stacking out Static Shiv now on him as the Infinity Edge still not ready. I think that's what Paragon's going towards. Could be the Bloodthirster. He's got the Vampiric Scepter in as well.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of that pickaxe first to get that initial burst of damage, then with a Vamp set to BF Sword in towards Bloodthirster. But Captain Jack is a mile ahead in terms of the items. That Bloodthirster in there, the Static Shiv, that triple kill earlier on, certainly helping Captain Jack out in this matchup so far. He's going to have even better pushing power with that Shiv in there as well, and won't be scared to get down and have a bit of a 1v1 if he gets the chance.
Mid King clearing out the waves and continues to farm. Kind of a slower approach here from the Korean teams. And obviously, these teams know each other very, very well. It's going to be different to see how they change up the pace. Lilac, oh, Lust Boy, he's going to get a poke. Oh, great power cord. That gets the slow straight down on Lilac and forces the pressure on him. But we do see Helios coming in. Ace in the hole comes out. Captain Jack snipes him down.
Really nicely done there by Blaze. And, well, he thought he got away with that one. Actually, the flash used there by Smeb. He wasn't having any of that one. I mean, well, why not? You've got the lockdown from Rise with the Rune Prison. You've got the flip back from the volley bet. He probably did need, in the grand scheme, to back away from that one. But look, they're just going very textbook here, CJ Blaze. They're going to move on to the next turret, which will be the inner turret in that top lane. As we see the True Shot Barrage come through. Doesn't actually do anything whatsoever. And there is that inner turret taken.
Turret goes down again, and it's 5-0 in turrets, 5-1 in kills. Massive gold advantage, 9,000 gold. Ambition with that Seraphim's already on him, as well as the Rod of Ages. 2 major items completed, while the Ryler's Crystal only just been picked up by Mid King. So definitely a huge difference in those mid laners, as well as the AD carries and the top laners. As it stands, CJ Entus Blaze are looking very, very strong in their first game. Ambition caught out here though, but he's got Stan United coming in. He turns back on towards Paragon. Paragon goes down. Smeb also very low, and they back around. Oh, he's gone towards Mid King. He might have enough damage. Just dodges out of the ultimate. Very nicely done. Helios finishes that one off. It's a double kill currently, and CJ Entus Blaze continue to pressure the top. Captain Jack, meanwhile, he's going to take down the mid turret. That's 6 turrets now down. LGIM are floundering here. They are being forced backwards, and CJ Entus Blaze pushing on towards the top inhibitor. Meanwhile, the middle inhibitor is being pressured by Captain Jack. They are attacking from both lanes, and there's nothing at all that LGIM can do about it.
This is just so good, so strong from Blaze. Not the most entertaining former League of Legends to watch, I'd say, but the way they're doing it is absolutely perfect there. You saw in the top lane, I mean, Ambition is pretty damn tanky already, and he's got the damage there. And he kind of just baited them in, like, all right, then you come for me. And you've always got to have in the back of your mind that Shen. he's going to join straight into the fight, and his shield already is enough there to help him out and save his teammate. And that leaves us with a 7-for-0 in turrets. Kills is pretty similar as well at 7-for-1, and they've got over a 10,000 gold lead 23 minutes in, and that's what a complete contrast to 15-minute point, not that far away when it was really equal.
They're going to go for Lilac here. You can see him, he's trying to get their Wraith out. You can expect to see a crazy bear running out of that bush. No, they've given up on it. They're allowing him to have it. He still hasn't got it. Instead, they're going to go for Lasher. Lasher's caught out. He gets dropped. Lustboy picks up the kill. It does not really matter. It's a kill nevertheless.
Yeah, and now Captain Jack coming in onto Smeb in this mid lane. He's actually going to get exhausted, locked down by the Rune Prison. Lustboy uses a crescendo to secure the kill. Obviously been watching Edward there in the LCS. Now Lilac go on in trouble as well, as we ace in the hole. Does come flying out. Captain Jack unstoppable at 5-0-3.
Absolutely devastating performance here from CJ Entus players. They are destroying their Korean counterparts LGIM in this very first group game, and you've got to wonder, with such a strong performance as this is this going to dishearten LGIM in their very first game here in the European scene?
Well, I'd be disheartened if Blaze came out and did this to me in the first game, but you've kind of got to expect that from a team like Blaze as well.
Nearly got the steal. It wasn't quite. I thought the smite was going to come out a little bit late there. I think Helios was kind of prepared and ready for it. Flame, though, caught on towards Mid King, gets the taunt down. Mid King doing anything he can, but he's already low on mana. He was just coming around to try and pick up that blue buff, so he hasn't got the mana to try and turn it around. Can his ultimate do it? Flame so strong. Here comes Ambition. One last shot. Thank you very much. Flame just positions him nicely.
There's something wrong when your mid laner can't really do much to stop that Shen taking you down like that. As we see blue buff taken away. And earlier on we saw the trap set up in the top side. And that's just what happens when you start to lose these turrets. And the team that's pushed through has wards everywhere. Finally we're seeing some pink wards coming out of LGIM. Not that they can particularly afford them at this stage of the game. Captain Jack has the blue buff given to him. We saw a bit of a chase come in there from Rise on towards Lilac. And they're desperately trying to have some vision here, because really the only real chance that they have to come back is to catch Blaze out a few times.
Well, Ambition on the hunt looking for kills here. He's 2-0-5 and he wants some more. 5-0-3 meanwhile down the bottom lane. It's actually Flame pushing on towards Smeb. Helios comes in as well. Captain Jack rotates round. Along with him is Lustboy. Well, as it is, Ambition continues to pressure in that mid lane. I tell a lie. Captain Jack was just soloing Dragon, but he's had the call from his team. He's like, what are you doing? We've got Baron. Let's just actually take these turrets. We've got the game in hand. And Lostboy does take down that turret. The rest of the team stacking in towards the mid lane. We also see down the bottom Flame pushing in. We have super minions coming in the top lane. CJ Entus players have this game in the palm of their hands to take it away. They're up to 15,000 gold lead right now. It is going to be the final inhibitor of the game going down. And there's the taunt on towards Mid King. He's going to get dropped in seconds. Ambition picks up the kill on that one. Smeeb now, only with that Trinity Force, has nothing to prevent Ambition coming in. Lilac goes down as well. And that is surely the game for CJ Entus plays. Dominant performance here. Their first game in the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships.
Well, they need a bucket of water here, LGIM, and throw it over there, because they were just not awake for this one. Players have destroyed them without any problems whatsoever. There's not a lot to really say about that Demon from outside. I mean, that was just a one-sided affair. Players looking super good.
Very dominant performance there, just slowly but surely growing them down until they are ready and waiting to pounce. We're going to cross over to our analysis desk and see exactly what they think of that one, because for me it was a strong performance from CJ Entus Plays.
Thanks, Lee. Incredibly strong performance, decisive win for LGIM, for CJ Entus Plays. And you know, LGIM, they're not a pushover. This is a really strong team, but you wouldn't get that impression so much from that game. Had a relatively close start, you know, relatively equal laning phase, but then a tower went down, then another tower, then a dragon, and then that first team fight at 15 minutes, 3-1, all 3 kills for Captain Jack, and just snowballed from there, out of control.
Yeah. It couldn't have got better. You know, Captain Jack, he's sort of the superstar, so to speak, on the lineup, and the play, I mean, we were just blown away by it.
Blaze just showing us why they're one of the favourites to get out of this group, one of the favourites to take the tournament. I mean, LGIM knew what to expect. They did the lane swaps. They had their junglers showing up in the 3v1 ganks as they should, but they just couldn't quite make anything stick. Blaze, of course, knew it was coming too. They prepared for it. They were ready for it. They had Helios. He actually sat in that top lane for quite a long time, which resulted in the fact that despite they took that bottom tower very early on, they got that extra 1,000 gold because mid lane was slightly behind CS, and Helios spent so long sitting up there. Zed was just farming his jungle. Zed was getting a little bit richer, and as a result, the gold balance was actually even after they took that first turret. But as a result, they saved their own one. So having that 2v2 lane up top with Shen and Volibear kept that going, kept that up, gave them that tower advantage, gave them that map control. They then switched their AD carry and support back up there again and took the top turret. So they were 2 turrets up. They got a free Drake thanks to some brilliant timing. They knew when the bases are coming from LGIM. They knew where they were because they had a lot of map control from wards. They took a free Drake, and before the first fight even happened, they were a Drake up, 2 towers up, and they were very, very strong. They had champions that snowball really well. You saw there how Shen, once he started to get Sunfire and Warmogs up, he was just taking mid king down 1v1, very, very strong. Rise the same, just starts to snowball up, and as soon as they were ready to take that fight, they did it beautifully. They baited LGIM in. They were pressuring OMS at that mid turret. They let him come forward. Rise teleports in behind them with the Shen ult on him, so he's going to teleport in, land on top of him any second, runs straight in behind them, locks down Paragon, locks down Lilac. LGIM are just a mess at the moment. They can't run back because they've got Shen and they've got Rise mixed in there. They can't go back towards the tower because there's Caitlyn, Lulu and Volibear all running that direction. They just get their squishy targets picked off. Lilac gets burst down before he can do anything, and Zed, yes, he has a lot of damage, he's got a big output, but as soon as you get some crowd control on him, he gets melted. Next thing was Paragon to fall. He tried to get a little bit too aggressive and try and pick up those low health champions, using his Arcane Shift to actually get in and amongst
it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Using his Arcane Shift to go in onto CJ Entus Blaze, and as a result lost his life for it. Gave him that 3-1 straight off fight, and from there on they just used that extra gold. They got an early oracles, they got a lot of pink wards, had complete map control.
That's what I was going to touch on
LGA.
as well, is the number of pink wards that came out of Blaze once they got that initial snowfall. Once they got those 3 kills and they got the very, very strong gold lead, it was just completely removing vision. And once you get control and you strangle the map from your opponents like that, there's nothing you can do to come back.
Exactly. It became, at that point, it was 4 5-man groups of CJ Entus Blaze just roaming around the LGA jungle, and as they came out to try and ward, as they came out to try and get their blue and their red buffs, they just find one, pick him off, find one, pick him off, and just keep doing that. And every time they got 1 kill or 2 kills, they take another objective, they take another tower, they take another dragon, or they take another baron.
Something I want to point out as well is Ambition decided to go for those distortion boots, so it gets the summoner cooldown on his flash and his teleport, and every single time he used teleport, it secured kills or secured an objective every single time. From 15 minutes to about 25 minutes, it was just finding picks. Because they had the vision, because Incredible Miracle couldn't move anywhere, couldn't do anything, they would just get caught out 1 by 1 and shut down.
His first teleport didn't even get a kill. He teleported down towards that bottom lane, ran into the Tribush. Zed was waiting there. He saw a ward. No kills happened. Zed had to back off, though. He really had to back off. Gave him a tower. So, okay, he lost a little bit of time moving, but ultimately, because he didn't spend all that time sitting down there farming or fighting, Cass couldn't push mid as hard as she wanted. She didn't get any turret damage down to that. So he could just turn around as soon as they saw him back away, head back towards his mid lane, start farming, start pushing Cassiopeia back away from his turret, while bottom lane took a tower, took that objective, and started to get some global gold going. So even without the fight, even without the kills, the pressure, that's all it needed. The presence, the paranoia, the fact that he knew he could get there was enough to force LGIM back and give him objectives.
Well, our third game of the day is Fnatic versus Blaze. You're Fnatic, you just watched that game, and you just watched one of the best teams in the world totally dismantle another one of the best teams in the world. What do you learn from that game to bring forward into your game?
You got to look at it and it was all map control. Simple as that. Once they had that advantage, they warded lots, they had an oracles, they had pink wards, they took away the enemy vision. You got to counter that. It's going to be harder. You're not going to be as rich if you're behind. You're not going to have the gold to spend on it. But if you don't, it's just going to keep slipping further and further back. You can take note of their ward spots. I mean, they were fairly common, they're fairly obvious where they were. But if there was a couple early on, they both started 2 wards out on either side of the map. CJ Blaze had 2 wards in the top side of the map. One up by the Tribush towards red, one down towards the ramps on the bottom side, around the Baron pit. None in the bottom half of the map. Why? I'm not entirely sure. I'm not inside their heads yet. But they had 2 up there. You can take note of that. You can know where to start. LGIM, on the other hand, had 1 on either side of the mid lane. just something you can take note, know where they're going to put the wards at the start, maybe form an invade route from that. We've seen time and time again games won from that level 1 fight. You get in, you get 1 kill, you get first blood on the right person, or 2-3 kills if you catch more of a team in there, and that will set the pace, and you can win a game right off that. Knowing where their early ward placement goes is a big part of your level 1 strategy.
And something to talk about it there as well, in terms of the picks. I mean, coming out of CJ Entus Blaze, there was nothing super surprising or exciting there. You know, Captain Jackie's very well known for his Caitlyn at the moment, Ryze, Shen, you know, Sona. It's picks that we see time and time and time again. Incredible Miracle, however, Zed in the jungle is not all that popular over here in EU. He's played in the mid as an assassin, as a bursty, you know, AD assassin. Cassiopeia in the middle as well. It's not a pick that we've seen for a very long time. Everybody knows Ocelot was famous for Cassiopeia and, you know, end of Season 1, Season 2 when she was super, super powerful. But right now, we don't see a lot of play from her. So it's definitely something people will make note of and go, all right, well, if we want to go Ryze, we need to be prepared to face the Snake Lady. I've taken a quick look, and on our second stream, Gambit Gaming have defeated Pain in their first matchup of the day. I believe Pain actually had the early advantage. I mean, going into it from a little bit that I was hearing, 20 minutes into the matchup, they were pretty even on gold, and it just sounded as though once they hit that point, Gambit sort of went, nope, we want to steamroll this one. So yeah, one win for Blaze and 1 win for Gambit.
Wow, well, our next match on the stream here is Millennium versus Fnatic, but before we get to that, I think we have Shocks, who's sitting with the player ready for an interview.
I believe so. So let's see if they're ready for that on stage. In the meantime,
what do you expect from the Millennium Fnatic? How does Fnatic prepare for that?
Fnatic, I see, they're both European teams. We said before how Millennium haven't been in the LCS. They've been able to just train for this for the last 3-4 months. Fnatic haven't. They're going to have loads of resources they can follow. They can see all Fnatic stuff. They can know their strats, and they've known the players for years and years. Fnatic have been a very solid roster for a long time. Millennium, a newer team, not in the LCS. Their replays, their games are not as publicly available, but they are going to be scrimming against the same teams Fnatic are. They're going to be scrimming against these European guys. They're going to be able to talk to each other. They're going to be able to hear some things, hints of things. I mean, there's honor amongst players. You don't just go around and, oh, we scrimmed them, they did this, we scrimmed them, they did this. But some things leak out. It's not completely unheard of. So Fnatic are going to have done what research they can. They're going to have tried. But I'm expecting to see a couple of funky little things we haven't seen from Millennium before. We know, like, Anguish is known for his jacks in that top lane. It's all he played through the LCS qualifiers and previous tournaments at that point. We've got a couple others. Kraton has a very strong Vayne. He's known for that a couple of times. But I expect to see some new champions. We've never seen these guys play before on tournament level. Maybe some funky strategies, but lane swaps will probably be in there. We'll have a couple of teleports. I mean, Fnatic themselves run 2 teleports quite a lot now, so certainly something to keep an eye open for.
Well, the Thresh ban in the first game bummed me out a bit, because I think that it's probably one of the highest skill ceiling characters in the game now. So much potential. You see so many cool VODs with these neat pulls, the Blitzcrank Thresh pull, and these sort of combos, and I was really excited to see the Koreans bring out Thresh, and you know, where can they take this character? Unfortunately, he was banned in the first game, but hopefully we're going to see a lot of Thresh play today, maybe the next one.
Yeah, and we know that Thresh is very, very popular right now over in EU. There's a number of teams that are looking to play him, pick him, and get hold of him. And like you were saying, just the skill cap, the things you can do with him. We've seen Gambit Gaming Edward using him to dramatic effect. I mean, he was the Thresh Prince of Bel Air, which is what Joe Miller coined him as. And you know what? He deserved the title. He was picking engagements 1v3, 1v4, using that Death Sentence chain of his to catch Baron Nashor and escape dying by hooking onto Baron. I mean, it was just beautiful play to watch.
Yep, I saw those VODs, man. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll see Fnatic versus Millennium. It's going to be epic. Don't go anywhere. See you soon.